Grindbygg. I suppose maybe you could call it a trestle building. It's a bit like a timber frame building, but it doesn't have a bottom plate. It doesn't have strengthening at the bottom. And that's partly because the joint is very strong. It's quite a clever interlocking joint that gives strength in many directions of force. I'm going to try and do you an exploded view of how they look. If you're using round timber, you would make a cheek, a flat face with an axe to unify the system. So I just think if I'm going to have a beam up here that comes down onto the... I'm going to try and do an exploded view. So I just want to plot out where the beams are going to be in my drawing. There'll be one there, that's the... So this would be like the same as the top plate. This would be the beams that go across the building. And then this would be the post down here. So there we go. I've got them all next to each other. They're exploded, so they're going to go together. So I'm drawing them separately. You're going to have to just bear with me and have a little bit of a leap of faith here. You're going to have a little bit of foreshortening in the camera, but I can't really do any better than that because I've tried this once already and it filmed the top of my head. So let's start with the important, nice important post here. It has a fork. Look at it from slightly above. So that's the top of the fork. That's inside the fork. And that's the top of the other side of it. Now if it's round timber, I suppose it would be like that. You'd cut cheeks. But I might be just using box, in which case it'll just be squared off. There won't be any cheek here. Now, onto this one. You have this as a positive. If you imagine this is a positive, these are a positive shape. Then you have the equivalent negative shape in this piece. So you have a piece cut out here, and then you have a piece cut out there. But here you also have this little shelf. A little bit complicated to draw, isn't it? Let's see. Now that goes that way. This goes this way. And then that has actually the same on the other side. Little bit of a shelf there to make the water run off. So I'll do that darker because that's the inside. So you see that slots down onto this. This part here touches that shelf. That picks up the same slope as this, so it locks down. And what it leaves is space, a kind of mortise space for the last one that comes in. So this one's going to have, this is the end of the piece of timber I'm drawing there. And then here it has a recess and another recess. Those are for the two prongs of the fork. But also it doesn't go all the way down there. It's a little bit don't think I've done a very good job there. But you see that goes a bit lower. So that goes down there, that goes down there. So you see that drops down onto this fork after they've been done. So let's just move this across a little bit. And you can see what they look like in section. There's the slope. So that's end wood. Does that make sense? If it was round timber, it would have a kind of cheek there. But I think I might be using box, in which case it's not going to look quite the same. And then onto this part, you have to ignore that bit there. I might just rub that out a bit. Onto this, which is like the equivalent of the top plate, you put the rafters for the roof, and then you maybe have that's end wood, and then I might put corrugated iron on top of that. So what I'm thinking of is making a building that is just a roof. It's just going to be air underneath. There's not going to be any planks on the walls or anything. And then of course the whole thing is triangulated. So it's actually would be further over, but these can be put in. There are kind of different ways of doing that. You might have it something like that. That works. So it works for stretch as well, and you pin that.